Hello friends, and not yet friends, welcome back to Mary's Test Kitchen, where we're making little savory treat-yourself treats using common vegan pantry ingredients and turning them into cute little tarts filled with sweet caramelized onions and aromatic roasted cashew cream. A wonderful thing for an afternoon tea time or to bring to potlucks since they're awesome hot or cold. This is a video partly for you and partly for me to review making pie crusts for another upcoming video. Starting with half whole wheat flour and half all-purpose unbleached white flour. Why half and half? I'm not really sure, probably just what I had at the time, because later on I switch flour types again. You'll see. This new kitchen is actually my old kitchen from when I lived in BC, before I started this channel about 7 years ago. Back then, I didn't have the confidence to stitch together this footage. Looking back, I don't really see why. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you want to do something, just go ahead and try. The worst you can do is, well, fail. And through that, you'll learn a bunch of new things. And that's the best way to get better at something, in my opinion. Next, add a half teaspoon of salt. Here I used Himalayan pink salt because it was the healthy, trendy thing at the time. In hindsight though, not worth it. I was an extremely broke new grad paying way too much for rent and getting paid way too little for my job at the time. And well, regular table salt has iodine. Important stuff. Look it up if you want. I guess this video is going to be full of life lessons. Next, add a half tablespoon of sugar. Living in BC at the time, the regular white sugar was filtered with bone char. Now I'm living in Alberta, our regular white sugar is vegan friendly. Lucky. So see my note about sugar if you want to know about that stuff. Next, we'll add some vegan shortening. I used Earth Balance shortening, but you can use any vegan shortening you like. You can even use chilled coconut oil, although I personally prefer the texture that comes with shortening and I find it easier to work with. You want to cut with a pastry knife like this, or you can just hold together two knives and keep cutting until the pieces of shortening become the size of peas. Then add ice water, a little bit at a time. You want this to hydrate evenly and add the minimum amount of water required to get this dough to come together. If you're thinking that this is of a lot of trouble and you'd rather just buy store-bought crust, especially since it's not so hard to find vegan pie crust these days, well, I agree with you. Back in these days, I used to make everything by hand that I possibly could. Pie crust by hand, bread by hand, pasta by hand, whipping up mayonnaise by hand, and now I have chronic tendinitis. So maybe there's a lesson in that. Maybe treat your body like the precious treasure that it is and pamper yourself. Not necessarily to spoil yourself, but, respect your body. You'll have added enough water when you can grab a bunch, squeeze it lightly, and the crumbs stick together. Now you can turn out those crumbs onto a clean countertop. Squish the dough into a cohesive mass. And keep that water nearby just in case you have to sprinkle some here or there. And if your dough is still a bit of a crumbly mess, don't worry, it's fine. I'm dividing the dough because we just need half of this for this batch of 4 tarts. As always, I'll have the recipe linked in the description box. The recipe is just for the 4 tarts, perfect for tea time, but if you want to make larger batches, just multiply the ingredients and it should work just fine. You don't need to knead this dough, just squish it together. Then cover the dough completely so it doesn't dry out. You don't have to use plastic wrap. You could use a food container or a bowl with a plate on top. Just minimize the extra air in the container. And those go into the fridge for at least a half an hour or up to 2 days. This would be a good time to make your caramelized onions on the stove or before you started the pie crust, since they do take a while. If you have some time, like 3 hours or so, you could make a big batch in the oven, proper caramelized onions, like from my DIY frozen pizza tutorial. But meh, it doesn't matter. I'm using red and yellow onions just because they were what I had. Cook them without stirring too often over medium-high heat. Slice them up as evenly as possible so they cook evenly, but as you can see, you don't have to be perfect. While these are cooking, sprinkle on a little bit of salt for flavor. These won't be truly caramelized, really, just cook down until sweet and soft and golden, but they will cook further when we bake the tarts. Afterwards, just let them cool. By now, you can probably roll out your dough. Flour your work surface and rolling pin so they don't stick too much. And if you're awkward at this stuff like I am, don't worry, just persevere. You will make something delicious. Edible, I promise. When the dough is about 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little thinner, you can cut out some rounds. But first, get a measure of your tart tins. I'm using these silicone tart baking molds from IKEA. I really wish I could find these exact molds again because they were amazing, but I lost them in the move to Alberta and they don't sell them anymore. Find something to cut out rounds a bit bigger than your tart tins or baking molds. You just use your imagination. I used a little serving bowl. If your dough sticks to the counter like mine did here, don't give up. Just go slowly, and sometimes a nice little spatula will help. As you're working, try to keep the crust as cold as possible. I'm sticking the tart shells in the fridge as I go. Next, make the cashew filling, starting with cashews, obviously, and I prefer roasted for a more fragrant flavor for this recipe. We're not trying to hide the ingredients here. Add a clove of garlic, cornstarch to thicken up the cream, a teaspoon of curry powder, a little poultry seasoning, and a bouillon cube. My secret to making anything taste good. For this one, I actually used a 1/2 cube of mushroom and a 1/2 cube of onion bouillon from Harvest Sun. Then a 1/4 cup of water and we're good to blend. This was my very favorite appliance, a $10 stick blender. I don't think they're $10 anymore, maybe $25, and it makes things super smooth. You just need to stop and start a few times. Ignore the fact that this doesn't look amazing, but it will taste fab. Get your tart shells out of the fridge and we can fill those babies up. Divide the fillings among the shells evenly, of course. Put those on a baking sheet. And then you can pop them into your oven, preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes or until the crust is golden and the tops of the onions will be a little bit crispy. Let them rest for at least 5 minutes before serving, lest you burn your mouth. And there you have it. A little set of creamy cashew cream filled tarts with sweet caramelized onions, and now you're ready to take on more pie pastries, aren't you? If you weren't already ready before. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. Next episode, I'll take you through another what I eat in a day, give you a glimpse into my work life, and share a really, truly exciting life update that I can hardly wait to share. But my new rule for myself is to stop oversharing on recipe videos. Haha, good luck. So I'll see you on What I Ate Wednesday. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already for more vegan fun food. Bye for now.